Hello and welcome back to e-DIRAP interviews. Today our focus is on Timor-Leste, and we'll be looking at the progress and changes in the information and communication technology landscape in the country, reflect upon some of the ICT initiatives that have contributed to Timor-Leste's development, and consider the future directions for ICT policy and planning. Joining us today is Abel Pires da Silva, ICT for Development Practitioner in Timor-Leste. Abel is the author of the last print edition of the Digital Review of Asia Pacific, also known as e-DIRAP, which was published in 2010. So now in this e-DIRAP project, as we transition from a printed publication to an open, collaboratively produced online resource, Abel is the key resource person on ICT development in Timor-Leste. Welcome, Abel. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Firstly, could you tell us a little bit about your background and your involvement in ICT for development?
Well, I've been working as a practitioner in this area since 1995 when I was studying in the university. I was studying computer science, and then in 1999 when almost all the students in Indonesia decided to came back to Timor to help the referendum process. After the referendum, I continue on working in this area, and then I was studying also. I did my Master of IT, and also after that we started to work on using IT to support development process of Timor-Leste. And the first step was to establish one organization to coordinate all the practitioners in Timor-Leste. And in 2007, we managed to establish one ICT association in Timor-Leste. And from that, we coordinated several trainings, promoting the use of ICT in offices, in NGOs, in government, and also in schools. And one of the key activities was to try to break the monopoly contract which was established between Government of Timor-Leste and Timor Telecom. And with that, after a long period of engagement and in the area, we managed, not we, but the government managed to break the new government managed to break the concession contract, and now we are enjoying a new liberalization area in telecommunications sector, and now we really are looking at developing an ICT to support the Timor-Leste national development process.
Okay, great. And you're also now pursuing your PhD. Is it also in this area of ICT for development?
It's correct. Yes, I'm currently doing my research on ICT for development at the Australian National University. This is my third year, and I'm looking forward to engage more in this area in Timor-Leste.
Great. Okay. So I'd like to now focus on some of the changes and new development in Timor-Leste. In the last print edition of e-DIRAP, you mentioned that the policymakers, regulators, academics, and others perceive ICT as a low priority. And that's one of the main reasons for the lack of growth in this ICT sector.
That's correct.
Has this perception changed since then? And if so, what has triggered this change?
Not much. ICT has been still a low priority to the government, but there is a little change, massive, but in the area of telecommunications sector. So seeing IT and telecommunications as a single sector, single intervention has not been the priority, but the good news is one part of ICT, which is telecommunication, has received massive attention from the government and also parliament. So that in itself is a positive move towards the use of ICT to support the development process, because telecommunication sector at the end of the day will support the growth and the use of IT in the country. So yes, there is a lack of integrated intervention in the area. However, the changes that currently made has been very, very positive.
Okay, thanks. And yes, you mentioned about this massive change in this major achievement in the liberalization of the telecommunications sector. Could you tell us a little bit more about this, about how it came about, who were involved, and what changes have we seen since then?
Well, in 2003, the first government of Timor-Leste decided to develop the telecommunications sector using BOT approach, build, operate, and transfer. However, in the process of delivering that contract, there was massive lack of attention to the several key areas in delivering telecommunication services to the people. One is obviously the high price of the services. I mean, in Timor-Leste, we have half of population are living with around 80 cents per day, while you are having a telecommunication services with sending few text messages will already exceed $1 price. So that was the massive issue to Timor-Leste, because with the high price, then access to telecommunication sector was very, very limited, and rightly so. From the perspective of the business, yes, it served the owners, the investors, but not the people. So with that in mind, government was trying to break the concession contract, and they managed, with the help of World Bank, with the help of practitioners like us, our organization, ICT Association, we managed to bring the discussion into national stage, and we managed to attract attention. And by that, with Timor Telecom's lack of quality of services and also expensive services, they in the end brought the changes, which was happening in 2012 with the passing of National Telecommunication Policy in June 2012, and also the new Telecommunication Decree Law number 15 in 2012.
Okay. So in addition to the telecommunication policy, has there been any other policy changes related to ICT, and also the use of ICT for development in other sectors?
Well, as I mentioned before, not necessarily in ICT sector, there has been very lack of integrated approach in this particular sector, but in telecommunications sector, which is the basis for IT to grow and ICT for development in the end, is that we have several new policy in telecommunications sector, which is mainly to implement the newly adopted liberalization policy. So with that, we are hoping that with the new market, opening of market, the prices will be going down, and it is now. It's considerably much lower than before, and we're hoping by that it will trigger the ICT to grow significantly in the next few years. And the other good intervention from the government is that they're rolling out fiber optic cables around the country, throughout the country, and this is a very positive move. And because we have lower prices, because we have, I think, even though it's still in the beginning of the process, but we are having a very good policy at the moment, and also we are heading to the right direction to use ICT to support development process. So we are having new infrastructure, and we are having new good regulation environment. So we are hoping that in the next few years we will be seeing more of ICT for development intervention.
Great. And since you mentioned ICT infrastructure, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about this area. In the last print edition of e-DIRAP, you mentioned that there are many obstacles to building the ICT infrastructure, including the lack of electricity as a fundamental challenge. But you also saw this early stage of ICT infrastructure development as an opportunity to take advantage of the latest technologies and choose systems that fit the country's conditions. So to what extent have you seen this leapfrogging taking place in Timor-Leste?
It's still in very, very early stages, but we are heading to the right direction. I mean, as I mentioned in the last print edition, we are having opportunity to actually adopt new technologies which fits our condition, but the government went even further than that. I was foreseeing the use of wireless technologies around the country because of our mountainous terrain in Timor, but the government has decided, and in fact has already rolled out fiber optic cables around the country, and that's even much better than what was expected. Even though it's expensive, but it's much better. Now the challenge is how to actually make use of this expensive technology has been rolled out, and as we all know that to use ICT for development, we have 3 C's involved. One is capacity, the other one is connectivity, which is we are heading to the right direction, and the other one, the last one is content, and having the connectivity aspect of the 3 C's not really resolved at the moment, but we are heading to the right direction. So we are hoping in the next few years this will be fully resolved because of the other intervention, positive intervention from the government, regardless of the use of fuel, heavy fuel for the electrical power plants. But that's another debate. The important thing is that we are seeing and we are experiencing much better electricity services in the capital. I've been here for the last 3 weeks since I arrived here in mid-May, and I haven't experienced any power outage, serious power outages, and that's a very, very good positive development. So the challenge is to actually move the debate now that we have sorted out the telecommunication issue. Now it's time to move beyond telecommunication, which is the use of ICT to support development process. And in that particular aspect, we are still having a lot of challenges. And one was, as I mentioned before, as we discussed before, that there is lack of shared understanding of the importance of IT to support development process, because at the moment people are thinking technology as an objective instead of as a tool, as a methodology to support development process. But with these positive changes happening, I am very optimistic that things will change.
Right. Yeah. Exciting to hear about the achievements in Timor-Leste. Has there been any ICT for development initiatives starting up amongst either civil society or academia in this area of using ICT for development in Timor-Leste?
There are several very crucial, important, but small interventions from friends working in this area. We are seeing people are using SMS to inform the farmers about the prices of coffee in the rural areas. These are very, very important initiatives and has to be supported. And I think the problem with ICT for development initiative here is that these are still scattered intervention, and as I mentioned earlier, we need an integrated approach. But there are growing number of interventions in the area, as I mentioned before. There were also initiatives in using SMS services to support the midwives in the rural areas, connecting midwives with the expecting mothers, and also the use of SMS with the support of database system at the back end to gather information about food security, etc. So because of the changes made in telecommunications sector, we are now seeing more and more intervention in the area. Now, the next test is actually to bring all together in one intervention, one integrated intervention in the area, because Timor-Leste is a very small country, and also Timor-Leste is a very have a very challenging terrain, which is Timor-Leste is very mountainous. I think around more than 80% of the land are mountains. So with the need, there are real needs, there are real technology to address these needs, and now it's a matter of putting everything together. So we have to sing one song only, otherwise we'll be having trouble in integrating the initiative at the end, because we are seeing that already some ministries are using proprietary technologies, the others are advocating strongly on using open source technologies, and because of that we are seeing island-based approach, and that will not be very helpful when it comes to integrating the initiatives in the end.
What changes do you think Timor-Leste need to have to create this integrated approach to ICT for development?
Well, let's be honest. Apart from the government, we don't have any other institutions outside the international institution who has financial capacity to do something. We have very weak private sector. They are private. They are saying that they're private, but they're actually depending on contracts from the government. And by that definition, they're not really independent private sectors. So every initiative has to come from the government, at least initially, because of the situation. I mean, government is spending almost $2 billion in 2013 alone, and it would be ideal to see some of the money goes to developing an integrated initiative in the area, because we can start from the government institution to use ICT to support their planning and interventions, and from there we will have a good cases to show to the world that Timor-Leste is actually successfully using ICT to support its development, and we have, I think we have only one issue, which is capacity, but it's not really massive compared to to changing the perspective of seeing technology as tools instead of as objective.
So, yeah, capacity and I guess awareness raising and capacity building is important in this case. Then, if especially among government,
challenges.
Has there been any major capacity building or education initiatives to build the capacity of government officials in this area in the use of ICT for development?
Not really. There was one initiative from UNAPC ICT, which is based in Korea. But again, because of lack of awareness, the interventions made targeting only low-level officials, which not really not too bad. But the thing is, if you need to change the government, if we need to change the government's stance in this area, we need to target high-level officials, and that goes back to awareness and initiatives, because it's difficult to start to really choose where to start.
Sure.
And I think it has to, because it's government. It has to start from within the government. And in 2007, the government abolished the telecommunication department, and this same department has been re-established. So hopefully, with massive attention directed towards telecommunication, but hopefully with this new re-establishment of the ministry, it will help us to advocate the use of ICT for development in the country, and we are having very good people in the government. The Vice Minister, Mr. Flavio Neves, is a good friend of ours, and I think we are very optimistic in approaching the government to actually move from telecommunication to ICT as an integrated sector to support the development process. But it will take time. Yeah.
Yeah. In what sector do you see our priorities for the use of ICT? You mentioned a little bit about example where farmers are using SMS.
Yes,
so agriculture will maybe an important sector, but I mean, I'd like to get your thoughts on what are the
we have three main sectors that really need intervention from ICT to support the development process in this area, and these are education, health, and agriculture. 80% of the population can be categorized into farmers, around that, and more than half of the Timorese populations are school-age children. We're talking about maybe below 25, 20 something. So these are young people, and by that they're engaging in education sector. And education ministry is the biggest ministry in Timor-Leste. They have teachers, schools all over the countries, and same as health. And we really need intervention in this area, and that can only be done if we have integrated perspective in ICT interventions.
Are there any examples of the use of ICTs to promote better governance, to promote dialogue among government and citizens, and creating a more open and inclusive society?
There are changes. There are initiatives within the Government of Timor-Leste, and I really praise these initiatives. For instance, the Minister of Justice, they are advocating the use of open source and they are also, with the support from AUSIT, Australian government, they are also implementing sector justice sector information systems, and these are open source, using open source technology, and I think it's very positive and has to be supported by everyone. But again, Timor having in mind that Timor-Leste is a very small country, I don't think we need to have an island-based approach in this country. So I will push for an integrated intervention for the use of ICT for development.
Great. It's exciting to hear about these changes and new developments taking place in Timor-Leste, and looks like you have your hands more than full in what you can do in the potential of the use of ICT for development. Yeah.
If we are talking about the potential use of ICT for development, yes, I'm very pessimistic. I'm very optimistic about this, and we'll talk again in the next several years, and hopefully I'll be sharing more good news to you.
Yeah. Well, before that, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts about the direction of ICT development in Timor-Leste and the changes that we could expect, particularly in the next 12 months or so.
Well, I'm not in a position to really comment on the policy issues or direction issue, but I think from the informal discussion I've made so far with colleagues in the government, in the NGOs and etc., I can tell that the focus now, and rightly so, the focus now is to promote the use of ICT in any backgrounds, any institutions, any organizations. And because without experiencing the benefits of IT for decision making, for communication, for policy making, and before they are experiencing that, it's hard to change their mind about the importance of IT. So the immediate focus at the moment, although it's disintegrated, although it's intervention based activities, I think the good thing is we are seeing more and more organizations, more and more government institutions using ICT to facilitate their daily operation, and with that, hopefully, and I have no doubt about it, that they will have change in the perspective of the importance and the benefits of using IT to support daily operations.
Great. Well, Abel, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you for latest ICT updates in Timor-Leste.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll be encouraging the e-DIRAP community to comment and share their thoughts on the information and analysis that you have provided today. Yeah.
Please do so. Please do so. I would love to hear some comments from other colleagues.
Yeah, and to the listeners, thanks for listening. You can find more information about ICT for development in Timor-Leste at the e-DIRAP website at digitalreview.asia. Thank you again, and goodbye for now.